Learning by Repeating, podcast number 9, The Meaning of Going Berserk. This is a personal English podcast recorded in May 2021, voiceover by Maria Cristina Natalia Bertoli. In modern day English, the expression going berserk is used almost exclusively in a humorous vein for designating someone so enraged as to be out of control, as if prey to a fit of frenzy. Formerly, though, going berserk applied more specifically to those situations where the angry person would bite into an object out of anger, and this former usage provides us with further clues on the original meaning that was attached to that word. The word berserk is actually pronounced by dropping the middle R, and it originated from Old Norse, forefather to contemporary Scandinavian languages, bjorn, meaning bear, or bur, meaning bear, and sirk, meaning coat, as it designated those ancient Norse warriors who would fight with wild ferocity. Known as berserkers, those warriors would join the fight without mail coats, but only clad in bear, wolf, or other animal skins. Hence the reference to their bear in the sense of unclothed, or bear in the sense of the animal, coat. Such outbursts of anger and braveness were most likely due to the rites traditionally held before a battle, whose traces are also found in other Indo-European cultures of yore, like the Celts. Celtic traditional Druidic rites have been made famous over the last 50 years or so by Goscinny's and Uderzo's light-hearted portrait of Druid Getafix, who, thanks to the strength potion he makes out of mistletoe, enables Asterix's and Obelix's fellow villagers to give Julius Caesar's army a hard time, in spite of their overwhelming superiority in number and in weapons. This fictionalized tale draws inspiration from actual rites that would be held before the battle in those ancient cultures. Historical evidence bears witness to the fact that, in Norse culture, berserkers' wild frenzy was probably often induced by the consumption of massive amounts of alcohol or of a hallucinogenic mushroom known as Amanita muscaria. The ingestion of this substance would also account for the peculiar habit of biting into the shield during the fit of frenzy that constituted the berserker gang, that is, the experience of going berserk. The berserker gang marked a sort of transformation of the warrior in the eyes of the community he belonged to, as Howard Farbing explains. Quote, this fury, which was called Berserker Gang, occurred not only in the heat of battle, but also during laborious work. Men who were thus seized performed the things which otherwise seemed impossible for human power. This condition is said to have begun with shivering, chattering of the teeth, and chill in the body, and then the face swelled and changed its color. With this was connected a great hot-headedness, which at last gave over into a great rage, under which they howled as wild animals, bit the edge of their shields, and cut down everything they met, without discriminating between friend or foe. When this condition ceased, a great dulling of the mind and feebleness followed, which could last for one or several days. End quote. Interestingly, no unmistakable visual depiction of a berserker in action has survived, other than a bronze engraving found in Denmark and featuring a warrior wearing a bear hat, as well as one of the rooks from the Lewis chessmen set, which is depicted while biting into his shield before the battle. However, there have been passed down several verbal descriptions of berserkers through literature, most notably Norse sagas. The earliest surviving reference to the term berserker is in a skaldic poem composed by a Norwegian court poet in the late 9th century in honor of King Harald the Fairhair, where they are described as follows. Quote, I'll ask of the berserks, you tasters of blood, those intrepid heroes, how are they treated? those who wade out into battle. Wolf-skinned they are called. In battle they bear bloody shields. Red with blood are their spears when they come to fight. They form a closed group. The prince, in his wisdom, puts trust in such men who hack through enemy shields. End quote. The tradition of going berserk before the battle would die out with the Christianization of such pagan cultures as the Vikings, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Celts, and the introduction of the culture of courtly love. By the late 13th century, the figure of the wild berserker would be replaced in the collective imagination by the Christian knight on a quest for truth, such as Percival's quest for the Holy Grail. The only trace left by the ancient culture of those warriors would be language, a trace that has survived to this day.